All right, Mr. Murdaugh, I sentence you to the State Department of Corrections on each of the murder indictments in the murder of your wife, Maggie Murdaugh. I sentence you for the term of the rest of your natural life.
Our next story is dealing with convicted killer Alec Murdaugh, who intends to plead guilty in his theft cases. You will remember if you watch the trial that he allegedly it's allegedly until he pleads guilty, stole an absolute shit ton of money from literally everybody. Well, it seems like he's going to be pleading guilty to that. Columbus, South Carolina convicted murderer and former South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh has agreed to plead guilty to federal charges. He stole millions of dollars from clients, according to court records. If Murdaugh doesn't change his mind before standing in front of a judge on September 21st, 3.5 weeks from now, or 4 weeks from now, it would mark the first time he admits guilt for any crime in court. That is incorrect. If you watch the trial, he already admitted to stealing all of this money, which is why his decision to plead guilty to these theft charges is not a surprise at all. He basically, in an attempt to save himself from life in prison, said, yes, I did all of these other horrible things that you're accusing me of doing, but I didn't do that. He sort of went semi-Meatloaf. But anyway, we won't get off on the Meatloaf song because if you pay attention to the lyrics, you know what Meatloaf won't do. He would do anything for love, but he won't do a certain few things, and they're all listed right there in the song, so it's no mystery. But yeah, Alex Murdaugh, he gave us the big, I did steal these money. I am a bad person. I did do all these things, but I didn't kill my wife and son. So it's not really the first time he admits to doing it. He's kind of already admitted to doing it. Alex Murdaugh sentenced to life in prison after conviction in double murder trial during his sentencing. This is him during his sentencing. Whisper thin fellow. He was found guilty on March 3rd. It's been a minute. It's been about 6 months, hasn't it? Jeez. Murdaugh, 55. See, I didn't realize he was that young for some reason. He's a year older than me. Fudge. For some reason, I thought he was a lot older than that. I didn't know he was only 55 years old. Wow. That's okay. I'm kind of shocked by that, actually. I thought he was like in his 60s. Huh. Well, Murdaugh, 55, is serving a life sentence for killing his wife and son at their home 2 years ago. But he insisted from the witness stand at his trial that he did not kill them and is appealing his double murder conviction. Prosecutors say he decided to kill them because his millions of dollars of theft was about to be discovered, and he was hoping their deaths would buy him sympathy and time to figure out a cover-up, which I didn't believe for a second. That just makes no sense whatsoever. He's managed to convince everyone. He's been confronted about these missing funds, weird accounting on many, many occasions, and he's been able to talk himself out of it every single time. But we're supposed to believe that he killed his wife and son because someone just brought up, hey, where's my $750,000 that you owe me? Why wouldn't he think he could talk himself out of it? Because he's been talking himself out of all these situations for the last 20 years. Anyway, we're not going to rehash the trial here. That will be something that might happen later down the line. The federal guilty plea would almost certainly bring prison time, keeping Murdaugh behind bars even if his murder conviction appeal was successful. But yeah, not for the rest of his life. He would still be able to get out at some point after serving a lengthy federal prison sentence. Before the killing, state and federal investigators said Murdaugh stole millions from clients who suffered debilitating injuries, who needed money for medical care. He's charged with stealing from his family's law firm and helping run a drug ring to launder money. See, that is what I think happened. Because I think he got in deep with the cartels and they took care of his family. That's the story that sits most believable to me. People go, but why wouldn't the cartel just kill him? You don't. If a guy owes you money and you kill that guy, you never get your money. If you give him an ultimatum and he treats you like a bitch, you take out someone he loves. You take out his wife, you take out his son, and you go, okay, pal, you still owe us the money. Work it out, or you're next. So that to me makes sense that he got in with them. They gave him some sort of ultimatum. He didn't pay them back, and they taught him a lesson. But we'll see. Authorities said he asked a friend to kill him on the side of a lonely highway so his son would get $10 million in life insurance. Yes, that happened. He botched his own murder. He asked a friend to murder him on the side of the road so that Buster would get $10 million life insurance policy, but his friend fucked it up and didn't really shoot it. Just kind of grazed him in the head. Dude is he's just bad at life. He's just bad at life. The shot only grazed Murdaugh's head. In federal court, Murdaugh faces 14 counts of money laundering, 5 counts of wire fraud, and 1 count of bank fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Court records didn't indicate whether there was an agreement to drop any charges in exchange for a guilty plea. Each charge carries at least a maximum, that's interesting wording, at least a maximum of 20 years in prison. Some have a maximum 30-year sentence. I guess it's grammatical. Attorneys for Murdaugh didn't comment on Thursday's court filing, but they said after his indictment on 22 federal charges in May that Murdaugh was helping federal investigators and the charges would be quickly resolved without a trial. Helping federal investigators. Hey, people in Murdaugh's law firm, you know what that means, don't you? They're coming after you. Hey, everybody else in Murdaugh's firm, get ready. Here come the feds. He's helping the investigators. The federal allegations are similar to charges Murdaugh still faces in state court. They include stealing about $4 million in insurance settlements meant for the family of Gloria Satterfield, a longtime housekeeper who died when she fell at the Murdaugh's home, according to the indictment. Yes, if you remember, he strung the kids along, and he basically stole the $4 million settlement and told them that they got it was $100,000 or something, and they still never got any of that. So Murdaugh is a flaming pile of shit. He is a horrible human being who deserves to be locked away for an incredibly long time. But I still don't think the prosecutors met their burden of proof him to be found guilty of murdering his wife and son. As big a piece of shit as he is, I don't think they proved that. Longtime friend and now ex-attorney Corey Fleming helped Murdaugh steal the money, investigators said. Fleming was sentenced earlier this month to nearly 4 years in prison after pleading guilty. Well, stand by for some updates on that. Other indictments said Murdaugh and the banker friend Russell Lafitte worked together to take settlement money out of the client's accounts, prosecutors said. Lafitte was convicted in November of 6 wire and bank fraud charges. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison and is appealing. That's a do right there. I never noticed her in court, but that's a do. And Murdaugh is also charged with creating a bank account that had a similar name to a legitimate company that handled settlements to steal money from clients. Again, raving piece of shit, but did he commit the murders? I don't think it was proven. He's currently in protective custody in an undisclosed state prison after being convicted in March of the shooting deaths of his 22-year-old son, Paul, killed with shotgun blasts, and 52-year-old wife, Maggie, who was shot several times with a rifle. Murdaugh is also awaiting trial on around 100 other state charges. Yeah, dude's looking at time. Along with the thefts, they also include insurance fraud, a drug and money laundering ring, tax evasion, and theft. Pre-trial hearing on those charges will likely take place the week before the federal guilty plea would mark Murdaugh's first appearance outside the prison since he was escorted out of the Colton County courtroom in handcuffs, shackles, and a jail jumpsuit on March 3rd. Murdaugh has been seen publicly only once since then in a batch of photos taken by the camera in his prison-issued tablet computer, as the system confirmed his identity so he could use the device to make monitored calls, watch approved entertainment, read books, or take video classes. The photo showed Murdaugh sometimes shirtless. Yeah, those were awkward, weren't they? If you saw those weird shirtless Murdaugh pictures. Pasty and lean, and wearing reading glasses in his cell. Prison officials initially released the photos under the state's open records law, but after a brief publicity splash, decided that since the photos were taken for security reasons and not as an official measure, they should not have been released under the Freedom of Information Act. Can't unring that bell. Can't unsee them pasty white nips. Sorry, Murdaugh. We didn't mean to publish those photos, but hey, sorry.